Salam sejahtera. Good day. This is me, Harrison Prabhu from E8 Group. What I'm going to do is, on behalf of my team daripada E8 Science and Technology, saya akan buat satu pembentangan presentation. Well, we can call it a knowledge sharing sessions, or even a kind of training module, a kind of discussion on this regulation called clean air regulation. Okay, clean air regulation, Akta udara bersih yang telah dikubal pada 2014. Okay, tujuan we are preparing objektif. Okay, saya akan buat dalam kedua-dua bahasa supaya ia memudahkan pemahaman. Because we don't want to be too literature on English. Because the objective is not to have the best presentation of the year. The objective is kita boleh faham dan mempraktikkan, okay, apa yang kita yang kita ingin sampaikan pada end user, and with the hope, with the intention that benda tu dapat memberikan manfaat untuk on the routine of environmental control. Okay, now when we look at clean air regulation, 2014 we went through a change. But prior to that, we were looking at clean air regulation tahun 1978. You see, 1978. So which was being used as the guidance when it comes to emission control. Okay, emission control or what's not this. But unfortunately, you see, the issue is now DOE has been making a lot of effort. DOE telah mengambil pelbagai langkah untuk membolehkan end users understand the guidance in regulation. So why do I say guidance in regulation? Okay, now at this stage in 2022, if you already look at it, QHAC part. Okay, we always talk about we have OSHAs, we have ISO 14000, and all sorts of regulations, certification. We got your audits and all that. So because of this, compliance becomes a big thing. But in actual fact, if you really look at the fundamental, tujuan sebenar sesuatu akta atau peraturan diubah adalah untuk menjadi satu elemen garis panduan. Ia menjadi satu elemen garis panduan. Garis panduan itu digunakan supaya sebarang protokol, sebarang project management, anything if it's pertaining to that regulation dapat dilaksanakan oleh bukan saja pihak kilang, but all the stakeholders yang involved. You see, now let's look at ventilation system, atau let's look at environmental control, like yang melibatkan sistem pengudaan. Who are the stakeholders involved? Kita ada end users, alright, pihak pengilang kan, end users. Then kita ada siapa? The HSEs, the person who helps, the person in charge who helps the compliance part, or in actual practical compliance part. Then we have the facility managers, facility engineers, maintenance engineers. Then we have the system installers, usually third party. You have the consultants. You have the what do you call turnaround maintenance team. You see, then you have probably a training providers who actually train that. You have the commissioning engineers dan sebagainya. There's so many people involved. Then of course you have the authority yang akan melihat sama ada are you going through the right process. The problem why till today we have difficulties understanding clean air regulations sebab all these stakeholders are not there anymore. All the stakeholders are not really doing their part. You see, they're not involved. So at the end of the day, client or the end users are left with the problem of trying to understand what is this all about? What am I supposed to do? What is my responsibility? That's the issue. You see. Now let's look at the regulation. Yeah. Now this is environmental quality clean air regulation 2014 di bawah Akta Kualiti Alam Sekitar 1974, seperti mana yang saya maklumkan tadi sebelum penggubalan 2014. Peraturan 2014 ni adalah satu kerja penambahbaikan. Sebelum ni kita menggunakan 1978. Okay, 1978. 1978 dia lebih general. And dia punya it's about the same. Cuma dia punya limit is slightly different, and dia the industry yang hard limit yang dia berikan dari segi industri adalah a bit too general, and now we are a bit more specific. Itu saja. That's the only difference. You see, but again, how to apply it is always the number one issue. Another thing which is different from 1970 and 2014, prior to 2014, Jabatan Alam Sekitar akan memberikan surat kebenaran bertulis. Dia seolah-olah sama macam bila kita mendapatkan permit untuk mesin dandang, permit untuk lifters, PMT, PMD and all that. So they use that concept. So dia akan seolah-olah memberikan you lesen untuk menggunakan peralatan tersebut. Tetapi pada 2014 dia bercadang untuk tidak memberikan lesen. Dia telah mengubah the whole concept. Dia kata, you be responsible of the equipment you install, I will validate for you. I mean, bila dia kata you, bukan as in end user, ya. As in end user, the system installer, everybody, to use a proper methodology, a proper design, reliable design. You see, a proper standard. Okay, untuk penjelasan ni, saya akan menggunakan excerpts daripada Use Regulation 18. Use Regulation 18, which is OSHA Act, has clearly specified it. Sebarang sistem kawalan, sebarang sistem penggunaan, sebarang control system harus mempunyai acceptable standard. You see, we are in 2022. Almost every single efforts in system has been well established, has been well documented. You see, we have ASTM, we have ASHRAE, we have BS, we have IH, we have ACGIH, we have Bosch, and now we have MIHA in Malaysia. So all these bodies have documented. On top of it, all the individual industry itself, spray boot, painting industry has their own version of what do you call standard documents. Cement industry, mining industry, all these documentation are well done. These are well proven. That's why Use Regulation 18 clearly says standard yang approved, yang telah digunakan, yang telah dibuktikan I mean, as many times as possible that it works. Number one. Number two, the design calculation too, we get someone accountable to verify, not just produce drawing. You see, engineering drawings are based on calculations. So a professional engineer or registered VVM, he works with designers, he validates this. Okay, oh, this design you ambil, okay, capture velocity untuk fume cabinet, capture velocity untuk canopy, capture velocity untuk exterior hood. Oh, fuel burning equipment, kita ambil dia punya flow rate calculation daripada consumption of gas darab dengan calorific value. So the engineer will come in and work together and they will validate. So you got two form of reliability kat sini. Who's the third one? You buat semua ni, you submit pada DOE, DOE akan validate untuk you. So that's how good this system is all about in 2014. Okay, jom tanpa melengahkan masa, let's look at the regulation. Now let's understand this regulation module by module. Just a humble request, when you have questions, do reach us at inquiry. Do reach us at our email. Okay, we have our email or you can our WhatsApp. You can actually reach us at inquiry@ef.com.my. Okay, or you can also reach us at our WhatsApp. Okay, and we will come back to you on any sort of questions you have. Okay, now let's see. We have number one. What's the first thing we need to look at? The terminologies, yeah? The terminologies are a bit technical, so I'm not going to go into the terminologies. I'm going to go straight to the regulation itself, okay? Then I will explain to you the terminologies, okay? Because the whole objective untuk modul ni, untuk kita memahami what you need to do or what you need to understand, you see, as a basic level. Number one, application. Okay, siapakah yang termaktub di bawah peraturan ini? Pertama adalah mereka-mereka yang mempunyai bahan aktiviti pembakaran. Kalau you ada aktiviti pembakaran di kilang kamu, di facility you kena buat. Kedua, kalau you mempunyai sistem penggunaan yang akan mencernakan emission selain daripada udara biasa lah. You see, this is where it gets interesting. Hot air and pollutant. What is hot air? Hot air basically is going through heat. Okay, without any residual vapors. Okay, this is always another confusion. Or I'm just heating a process. But if you're heating something which has been coated with a chemical and that heating process will emit pollutant, then yes. Or let's say if you're using furnace. Furnace adalah combustion equipment, alat pembakaran bahan api. So dia akan ada NOx, SOx, CO2, CO, and also particulate aerosol. So confirm dia ada pollutant. So this is what we understand. But very simple, first thing, alat pembakaran bahan api. Kedua, sistem penggunaan yang mungkin mempunyai bahan-bahan mendasar yang lain seperti solvent vapors, or any form of vapors, any form of fumes, any form of particulate aerosol, or any form of liquid aerosol. So ini je senang je. Particulate aerosol, liquid aerosol, fumes, or vapors. That's what we need to know. Okay. Any premises that any industrial plant, any fuel burning equipment. So if you look at it, these are the two things which you need to know. Obligation to comply. Obligation to comply ni dia cerita pasal kalau you ada sebelum of course everybody who owner occupier, you have pembakaran dan juga sistem penggunaan yang akan mengeluarkan bahan berdasing, then you have to. Okay, at this point, right, a lot of people tend to ask me this question. A lot of people tend to ask us this question. If kalau saya tak ada chimney, boleh ke? Do I comply? No, it's very simple. If your system is emitting pollutant, then by right you should. Okay, it's very simple. If you do not have a chimney and it's just coming out at the wall, sepatutnya tak perlu lah. Sepatutnya tak perlu. Okay, because you're just emitting it there. But I have a question. What if the one which is coming at the wall is a pollutant and there are workers working there? Of course, you're not going to fall into this regulation, but your workers working in the line is going to get exposed. So that is why usually any sort of pollutant yang keluar melalui sistem pengudaraan, when you go through a proper activated air cleaning device, you akan letak chimney, takut ada residual. Unless memang the system is designed to be a ductless, tak ada ducting. It was designed with high efficiency. You have a HEPA filter and what's not, then it's okay. But if the system is designed and may have residual, then you have to have a chimney. So that answers the question. Now, what does Regulation 4 say? Anybody who has fuel burning equipment and what do you call emission from virtual process, industrial ventilation and sistem penggunaan. Kedua, kalau you ada surat kebenaran bertulis, seperti mana saya telah berkongsi tadi, sekiranya sebelum 2014, kalau you telah mendapatkan permit daripada DOE, you harus pastikan the permit fulfills the requirement of 2019. You see, masa 2014, apabila Jabatan Alas kita telah mengubah peraturan ini, dia telah menyatakan 5 tahun grace period akan diberikan untuk melakukan peralihan tersebut. So you have to check back. You ask us sincerely, what we will suggest is run through the design documents back again and see if you can actually create a new design document and get the new notification acknowledgement. 2014, after 2014, DOE does not give you permit yet. DOE give you acknowledgement letter mengatakan sistem kamu telah pun diperiksa, sistem kamu mempunyai is reliable dan you boleh pasang, pastikan you ikut terma dan caran kami. That's what DOE is going to say. Alright, then lastly dia kata kalau ada complaint, also they will use this regulation as a guidance whether you fulfill the requirement ke tidak. Okay, number 5, ini yang paling penting. Seperti mana yang saya beritahu tadi, sebelum 2014 kita akan buat permit application. Now kita buat notification. Alright, what does it say? An owner occupier permit shall not without given prior written, without notification, without license, you tak boleh buat sebarang perubahan pada sistem. Okay, you tak boleh mencernakan sebarang emission pada chimney. You tak boleh construct any system yang mempunyai emission. You tak boleh buat sebarang perubahan pada air cleaning device. You juga tak boleh buat sebarang upgrading works of the system which has been installed earlier. You must use an approved standard. Approved standard, any sort of standard. ACGI, DOE themselves ada guidance dia. DOE themselves menggunakan guidance mereka yang biasanya banyak guidance mereka. I think if you need, we can actually share with you the guidance. Okay, and then or you can use any sort of approved standard yang telah pun divalidatekan yang telah pun disemak, endorse or done by a professional engineer yang berdaftar dengan Board of Engineers of Malaysia. Okay, and it must be done 30 days before the commencement of installation. Itu yang pertama. Yang itu untuk peraturan 5. Peraturan 6 apa yang beritahu kat sini, pastikan you menggunakan best available technique economically achievable. You see, they are not saying that it has to be an expensive system. You have to fill $100,000 dust collector and a $200,000 scrubber or electrostatic precipitator. No such thing. First of all, a common mistake which always happens, there are cases where installers, system providers don't even check what exactly they are capturing. What is the purpose of a ventilation system? Kalau you ada fuel burning equipment, the purpose of the what you call chimney kat situ adalah untuk menyalurkan, untuk menangkap atau menyingkirkan sebarang combustion gases. What are combustion gases? You have particulate aerosol, ashes, soot, and all that. Then you have NOx, you have SOx, you have carbon dioxide, you have carbon monoxide, you have excess of oxygen. Okay, all will go through a plume. I mean, will go through a flue duct. Then dia akan dicendakan pada cerobong. Now, that is for fuel burning equipment. Let's say if you have, okay, let's look at system penggunaan. There are various types of system penggunaan industrial ventilation. You have a local exhaust ventilation system. You have a general exhaust ventilation system. You have a process vent. Okay, what exactly is being captured here? For a GEV, you need to know what's being captured here. If a general exhaust ventilation is just diluting air for heat alone, then it's okay. But what if that heat, for instance, rubber glove, that heat has chlorine vapor? Then you need a scrubber. And you need to calculate the proper air change in the room. Then you install a proper scrubber. But before you install a scrubber, first of all, you need to know what is the concentration of the residual chlorine in that particular room. Then only you design your system. You see, similarly, for a plating plant, for instance, you may have chromium. You may have fumes from the heavy metals, chromium, zinc, and all that. Or you may have hydrochloric acids vapor. So you need to know this concentration. This is where it gets bypassed. So what Regulation 6 is saying, know all this and pick something which is applicable, good, and reliable. Not necessarily it has to be expensive. You see, but it has to be. Do not have activated carbon for a acid gas, or do not use a scrubber for a solvent vapor. You see, or do not use a scrubber for high loading of particulate aerosol. So you got to pick the right one. You see, that's how it goes. Now let's go to Regulation 7. Apa dia cakap Regulation 7? Dia kata every premise shall be equipped with air pollution control system. Kat sini dia jadi interesting lah. There's always a dispute. Apa yang dimaksudkan dalam peraturan ini sebagai air pollution control system? Okay, apa yang dimaksudkan? Kalau kita merujuk kepada ACGIH menganggap a normal LEV system. ACGIH menganggap a normal LEV system. Okay, a normal LEV system yang mempunyai let's say sebagai fume cabinet kat sini. There's a fume cabinet. This fume cabinet, what it does is it captures let's say sulfuric acid vapor. Dia keluar kat sini dengan menggunakan kipas, and then it just comes out. And then bila dia keluar dekat chimney ni, what happens is that kita cuba, bila dia keluar kat chimney, apa kita buat? Kita cuba, number one, create buoyancy kat sini. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create buoyancy. Kita nak push this to the ambient environment, dan kita nak create buoyancy supaya dia boleh terapung, and then bila dia tersebar, dia akan jadi cair. That's what we're trying to do. So, as according to ACGIH, if this concentration is not so high, you can use this particular dispersion method. So it is considered a type of control device. Okay. Now, DOE accepted this. Cuma lately, I think due to a lot of pollution, certain incidents, because of certain incidents, DOE is trying to preach to install air cleaning device for every system. Bare minimum, you must have a type of air cleaning device. You see, because this is mainly, we can't blame DOE in this particular approach, because the problem is a lot of system installers, they fail to quantify berapakah concentration yang ada. You see, so that is why it gets a bit uncontrollable. So current method, it's best to have air cleaning device installed for in every ventilation system. Okay, so that's what is meant here. Yeah. Next, an owner or occupier of the premises shall appoint a professional engineer to design. So this was saya dah bagi tahu tadi, professional engineer to design, supervise the construction and so on. Sama macam use regulation 18. An owner or occupier of the premises shall operate and maintain the air pollution control system in accordance with the sound engineering practice. So now this is where it's interesting. What they're saying is, install as according to the design. Submit the design document pada saya akan semak, saya akan bagi tahu okey ke tak okey. Kemudian dipasang lah dengan proper installation method. Right after that, jangan just leave it as it is. You must understand how to operate. You must understand what is a baseline condition. You must understand what's a peak condition. You must understand what is preventive maintenance curve. You must understand apa yang saya maksudkan di sini adalah this part the mistake or which hardly happen. The common biggest mistake the industry is going through now is this. After a system is built, the system installers do not clearly specify what exactly is the peak performance. Okay, so when the deterioration of the system happens, when they need to do preventive maintenance, the system installer biasanya tak akan bagi tahu benda ni. So itu yang jadi masalah. So they clearly stating that you must understand how this whole thing works. And then owner of the premises professional engineer within 30 days, lepas you dah pasang sistem, you kena declare apa yang you pasang betul-betul ikut blueprint yang you hantar masa you minta notification, masa you hantar notification. The initial so-called approval dia bagi tu, apa yang you pasang kena sama lah. Within 30 days you must submit and tell them. Okay, the written declaration. Okay, so this has to be done within 30 days. Regulation 8, in the case of failure of operation of air pollution control system, the right should notify. Okay, sekiranya berlaku sebarang masalah, system is failing. What is my system is failing? The moment the system goes through beyond this particular threshold, you see, if you look at this, I give you a simple example. Let's say a system is designed with 1000 flow rate, 1000 CFM flow rate. Okay, 1000 cubic meters. 1000 cubic meter is giving you 8 meters per second dekat chimney lah. Nah, kalau kita nak lagi mudah nak faham, okay, sistem saya ni, this big is incurring 1000 CFM, okay, 1000 cubic meters. So which means that at 1000, what will come out at the chimney is 8 meters per second. You see, now after this is my design. When I do my first baseline test, when I do commissioning, I got my answer here. My peak is actually 8.5 sebagai contoh. Okay, but again, due to process deterioration, combustion efficiency jatuh from the boiler, or the bearing ada problem dekat kipas, or coil mungkin dah terbakar sikit, atau mungkin ada orang tambah extra ducting dan sebagainya, flow rate tu jatuh kepada 800. Bila benda ni jatuh ke 800, ini akan jatuh ke example mungkin kepada 7.5. So 7.5 is already low. 7.5 bare minimum we need for 8 meters per second so that we can have a dispersion. This is the limit which is given by DOE. Okay, so when that happens, you can upgrade the system lah. So you cannot, that's considered here already. You see, or let's say, so you're only going to know that when you do periodic assessment. 3 months, 6 months, once a year. Okay, maybe current practice once a year. All right, for emission monitoring. But you also have internal inspection and all that. You don't just do one single testing for once a year. You must do an in-house periodic testing all the while. You must ensure that your flow rate is 1000. You must have a method inside to do it. That is also a method currently, problem currently. Relying 100% on emission monitoring report. No, emission monitoring report is just a third-party variation. You must know, you must have your own internal testing procedures to ensure that you are within this range. Okay, let's go back to the regulation. So that's what regulation 8 says. Okay, that's what regulation 8 says. All right, that's all for the first module. Do come back to us if you have more questions. Do wait for our second module. We will cover topic by topic. We're starting dengan clean air regulation dulu. Let's understand the clean air regulation. Again, a purpose of a training module is to ensure that you understand the basic fundamentals of the guidance regulations bagi. So we will only know if you understand when you post question to us. So please do contact us with your questions. Thank you very much. You have a great day ahead. This is Harrison Prabhu. Good day. Bye-bye.